Everyone. Today we're going to study a text about a girl. Her name is Rufaida Al-Mazniya. She's not an ordinary girl. She did something special, and this is why she is not forgettable till this moment. Uh, I'm going to teach you how to analyze the text and how to answer a very specific question. Okay, so let's start with this text, and I need you to know that the first part of the text is called the introduction. So, in the introduction, we know some information about the person or the thing or the topic that we're going to talk about in the following paragraphs. So, if you read the first paragraph, you'll say Rufaida al-Maziniya, Islam's first female nurse, lived during the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and was one of the first people in Medina to accept Islam. So, I'm expecting that the whole passage or the whole text will be about whom? About Rufaida al-Maziniya and her job as what? As a female nurse, okay? And the time she lived, when she lived at the time of what? Of Prophet Muhammad. So we're talking about اللي هي يعني a very long time ago. And she was the first female اللي هي nurse to work in such a difficult job and to be the first female nurse at that time. This is something very special, and this is why she's remembered to this moment. هلا. So, in the first paragraph, which is the introduction, we have a very important information here, or a very important idea to talk about, which is what was her position in Islam. يعني at that time, what was her position? مكانتها، موقعها. If you look at the first paragraph, you will find that they talked about what? Three ideas. The first one is that she's Islam's first female nurse. فهي أول ممرضة كانت وين في أنثى في الإسلام. يعني ممكن يكون إنه إيش we have nurses but they were men or male. She is a female. Female means what? A girl or a woman. Okay, and the opposite is what? Is the word male. Now, so she's the first female nurse. Number two is she lived during the time of Prophet Muhammad. So her position was that she lived and she met the Prophet. That this is something important to her position. يعني لما كانتها إنه she knows the Prophet Muhammad, she knew Prophet Muhammad, okay? She met him and she dealt with him. And she was the first female nurse. And the second one, or third one, that she was one of the first people in Medina to accept Islam. And this is something great. She was from the ones who accept Islam from the beginning in Medina. So she's from the Medina, but she was the first. يعني خلينا نحكي one of the first people. يعني من الأشخاص الأوائل اللي هي إيش to accept Islam in Medina. Okay. هلا, if we talk about the second paragraph, she was a compassionate woman who was most famous for treating soldiers in battles. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, invited her to help Muslims by giving medical help to his soldiers when they needed it the most. In times of war, Rufaida set up hospital tents next to the battlefields so that injured soldiers could be treated at once. She trained other nurses to help as many injured men as possible. They were trained to treat wounds. Here we have the word wounds, okay? But also to be caring and kind. Okay, now, in this paragraph, we're talking more about what? About her beginning or the start point, اللي نقطة البداية, okay? As a nurse for soldiers. She was not an ordinary nurse. Her work was to treat whom? The soldiers. And the word soldiers means men who are in war. يعني الرجال اللي بالحرب شو بنسميهم? Soldiers, جنود, okay? In battle. So, what was her job? What was her job? We can find her job in the first paragraph. Her job was to be what? A nurse. Now, mention 3 of her characteristics. We're talking about her characteristics here. But first, I want you to know what was the start point of her career or her job. شو هي نقطة البداية؟ إنها إيش؟ When Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, invited her to help اللي هي مين? The soldiers or Muslims by giving medical help to his soldiers when they needed the most. So, Prophet Muhammad invited her to help the soldiers. This is what the start point. Or we can ask the question in another way, and we have the same answer, which is how did she become a nurse in battles? يعني كيف بلشت اللي هي بداياتها to be a nurse in battles. Okay? كأني بحكي لك the start point اللي هي البداية. And this is the answer. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, noticed her, لاحظها, and invited her to be what? With them in battles. Okay? هلا. If we continue, we have in times of war, Rufaidah set up hospital tents. And these hospital tents were where? Next to battlefields. Can you imagine that? She was in danger. She was beside what? Or next to the battle. So she was in the battlefield. يعني في ساحة المعركة. So it was dangerous. And she was a woman. Okay? So that injured soldiers could be treated at once. So why she insisted to treat soldiers هي إيش in the battlefield. يعني ليش ما استنت مثلا إنه in مدينة إنه to bring the soldiers there. And the hospital would be in Medina instead of what? The battle field. يعني ليش أصرت إنها تكون وين في battlefield أو next to the battlefield? Why this word اللي هي إيش عندك? Treated at once. عشان العلاج يكون وين؟ فوري. لأنه إذا تأخروا ممكن إيش؟ يصير معهم مشاكل. فهي بدها كانت العلاج وين؟ بنفس اللحظة. So she insisted to build اللي هي the tents, the hospital tents next to the battlefield. She trained other nurses to help as many injured men as possible, and she treated them to what? Yes, she treated them, or she trained them she trained them to treat wounds. This is the word. This is her job. يعني a nurse should know how to treat wounds. للcuts يعني الجروح. But also to be إيش? To be caring and kind. So, from this paragraph, we can find that we have many characteristics. There are clear ones, and we have like hidden ones. يعني في أشياء واضحة وفي أشياء مالها مخبية. So when I say mention 3 of her characteristics, we have the clear one that she was what? A compassionate one. Compassionate means kind. يعني رحومة. Okay? Why? Because she's dealing with sick people. And this is the ultimate kind of compassion. Now, number 2, that she is caring and kind. You will say she's talking here, or the text is talking about what? Training other nurses to be caring and kind. So the nurses will be what? Will be caring and kind. So the characteristics are not for Rufaidah. Can you imagine somebody will train somebody else to be kind and he's not kind? يعني أنا ممكن أعلمك تكوني لطيفة وأنت ما تكوني لطيفة. So by default هدول رح يكونوا مالهم صفاتها إنها she's caring and kind. عشان هيك كانت تعلم مين other nurses to be what? Caring and kind. Done? هلا الهيدن المخبية اللي characteristics, we can talk about what? That she was brave woman. هي عجد كانت مالها شجاعة. And this is one of the questions in your student book. She was a very brave woman. Prove it, okay? And we'll talk about that later. Now, write down the sentence that shows that her job was not only for treating soldiers. So, give me the sentence. When I say write down the sentence, give me the sentence. Where is the sentence that shows that her job was not only for treating soldiers? She was not only treating people. No, she was also what? Training. She was also training other women or other nurses to be good nurses. Okay, so she is a teacher and she is a nurse. So her job was not just by treating soldiers. She needed to teach other nurses how to treat soldiers as well, because they needed a lot of people at that time, because it's a war. Yani one woman cannot do all of these things alone. Okay, and she's a woman dealing with men, and these men, they were injured, يعني مجروحين أو مصابين. So it was very difficult to be alone. هلا Rufaida's success was noticed by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to encourage her. Peace be upon him, to encourage her. A tent was set up by the Prophet's mosque, peace be upon him, so she could continue her voluntary work helping the sick using her own money. She listened to people and looked at how they lived. Then she helped them make their lives healthier and more comfortable. Now, this part, we have here some questions about this part. If we talk about the first one, was her job important only in the time or during the times of war, or in the times of war? Explain. Yani her job, when we have a war, okay, Rufaida, come and help. If we don't have war, so just stay at home? No. Because here we have an idea that says what? In this paragraph, they say that in the time when they did not have war, they have what? A hospital which was next to the mosque, the Prophet's mosque, Masjid al-Nabawi. And there was a hospital there. يعني مش احنا كده في hospital اللي هي hospital tent اللي هي in the battlefield, and here we have a hospital in Medina, okay, اللي هي next to the or by the mosque, okay. And this hospital tent is for whom? We don't have war now, so this hospital was for ordinary people, for sick people, للأشخاص المرضى. So it was just to help what? To help the sick, using her own money. So she was what? She was generous. This is another what? Another characteristic. This is a hidden one. يعني مش مصرح بكلمة generous, but you can add it. She was what? She was a generous woman. She was doing a voluntary job or voluntary work. يعني متطوع, شغل تطوعي. So this is how she was compassionate, and she was very kind and caring person. هلا. How was she treating sick people? The treatment. Talk about the treatment. Look at this paragraph. She listened to people and looked how they lived them. Okay? Then she helped them make their lives healthier and more comfortable. So she listened. She looked how they lived, and she can help according to what she listened to or she observed. يعني according to the observation, على الملاحظة اللي كان شايفها من مين؟ من اللي هي by listening and looking to their lives. بعدين she will decide how to help them using her own what? Her own money. هلا the last paragraph, I think she's talking about what? It talks about what? It talks about her reputation or her position in our world. Just as the Prophet, peace be upon him, understood the importance of her work, okay, people around the world today, especially doctors and nurses, should continue. So they knew that she is important, and they will continue. فلما أقول لك should continue, أنت بتستمر بشيء ما أنت بتعمله من زمان. They knew that she is very important, and she is special in what she's doing. Should continue to view Rufaida as an example of compassion. Okay, this is the noun, and compassionate is what? The adjective. Now, if I'm asking you here a question, she has got a good reputation, sum'a, till this moment. Prove it. You will write this paragraph. Because how can I prove it? The Prophet was pleased because of her job. يعني كان مسرور وراضي عن عملها. And this is one of the things that she should be proud of. The Prophet اللي said that she was very important at that time, and this is why he invited her to be or to join them in the battles. And number two, doctors and nurses, especially doctors and nurses, and people around the world in general. Us, for example, we as students here and as teachers, as ordinary people, we should admire يعني نقدر, we should admire and respect what she did in the past. Okay, and she should be what she should be an example, role model, نموذج يعني for compassion to the generations. I hope that the lesson was easy for you, so you can answer the questions in the student book. Now, if you study the text on surface, على السطح يعني, you will find what the direct answers, but sometimes you have to dig deeper, okay, and deeper. بدك يعني تدوري وين على الأشياء الهidden المخبية. For example, if we talk about question number 1, how did Rufaida's work differ between times of war and times of peace? So we have times of war and we have times of peace, and we talked about that. During times of war, Rufaida helped soldiers where? In battles or in battlefields, okay? During times of peace, she helped them where? She helped the sick people, not the soldiers. So, during the time of war, she was helping soldiers. But during the time of peace, she was helping the sick people, ordinary people, not just soldiers, okay? During the time of war, she was in the battlefield. But in time of peace, she was where? She was in a hospital by or next to the mosque in Medina, okay? So she didn't have to move to the battlefield because we don't have a battlefield here. So the place and the people اللي هم target people يعني الناس المستهدفين and the place changed from the time of war and the time of peace. Now, question number 2, you need to think more, okay, to be able to answer this question. In what ways do you think Rufaida was brave? بدي أعرف كيف كانت brave. I will give you my suggestions. يعني it's up to you. Your answer could be good. My answer could be good. We don't have what اللي هي a correct answer. في عندنا appropriate answer, but we don't have correct and wrong answers. Okay? هلا. She was brave how? She was brave to be what? To be the first female nurse. To be the first female nurse. إنك تكوني female and to decide to be a nurse. This is what? A brave thing. هذا شيء شجاع منك. Okay? أنا female. أنا girl. أنا woman. Okay? This is number 1. Number 2, she was brave because she was treating soldiers. يعني هي عم بتعالج بمين؟ بجنود. And this thing is what is very difficult and serious. They have serious injuries. Okay? عندهم إصابات خطيرة. يعني we are talking about اللي هي soldiers in battles. جنود في معارك. So it is very difficult, and she is a woman. Okay? She's brave to work next battlefield, and she was doing this job not in Medina. She is inside the battlefield. Okay, هي كانت جوا المعركة. So this is something needs what? To be brave. She was brave to continue her voluntary work helping the sick. هلا ممكن انت تقولي okay, I will do this because soldiers need اللي هي help. But she's brave to decide continuing what? Her job when in the times of peace. حتى في أوقات السلام لما ما بيكون في حروب إنها كانت إيش مصرة إنها تقوم بعملها مين؟ الvoluntary work, العمل التطوعي. So this is what? A brave work from her. هلا. And she was brave to train other nurses. ممكن تفكر إنه الناس راح تحاربها أو شيء، إنه خلص أنت اخترتي تكوني nurse لكن ما إلك علاقة بغيرك، لكن هي كانت brave إنه I will train other nurses, okay, as well. This is a brave thing from her. ممكن تحكوا لي إنه she was brave to do these works اللي حكينا voluntary work and use her money. And this means what? To be brave. The brave مش بس كمان إنه to be إيش to be strong and you have the power. ممكن تكون الباور مش physical power, ممكن تكون إيش the power of money, يعني إنه أنت عندك مصاري كمان هذا إيش تعتبر فيها أنت brave. What do you think encouraged her to help people so much? هلا encouraged جاي من وين؟ support and encouragement. دايما support الدعم بيخليك شو to move forward. لو اجى حدا حكى لك no you cannot, you will not continue, you will not move اللي هي forward. فمعناته support, and the support was first from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and this is the most important thing. When the Prophet invited her to be part of the battle and to be part of the team to help the soldiers, it means that he trusted her, okay? And she will do her best to continue her job successfully. So support, and let's say what she did was beneficial. يعني مش إنه هيك شيء يعني بلا فائدة, يعني fruitless, كان بدون ولا شيء, أو haphazardly كانت بتعمله. لا, يعني it was اللي هي very important for people, سواء كان نحكي عن soldiers أو مين, أو هم ordinary people أو sick people. So you can talk about anything you can imagine when we talk about what اللي هي what encouraged her. بس أنا بدي إياكم to think about, put yourself in her shoes, يعني حط حالك بمكانها. إنه you will continue your work if you have what support and acceptance, اللي هو القبول بنسميه, from اللي هي the people around you. لكن if they just suppress you, depress you, قمعوكي, and they say no you cannot, you should not do this or that, you will not continue. هلا رفيدة المازنية is described as compassionate, famous and successful. So we have 3 points here: compassionate, we have famous, and we have successful. You have to give me facts to support what these characteristics. We talked about being compassionate, kind, or caring. We talked about being famous and have good reputation, and how to be what a successful woman. The answer would be like that. She's compassionate because she helped the sick, and she hoped to make the lives of poor people and more the poor people, I mean, healthier and more comfortable. So this is why she's compassionate. Maybe you will say she's compassionate because she helped the soldiers and she treated the nurses to be more caring and kind with people. So this is why she's compassionate, okay? This is another one. She's famous because her work was praised. What do you think of praise? Praise means إنه يعني يتلقى المديح, okay? هو فيه acceptance, فيه قبول. فأنا I'll praise you, أنا بمدحك. By Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and she continues to be an inspiration. Inspiration معناها إلهام to people around the world. هاي اللي هي the last paragraph when we talked about what اللي she was able to draw a good reputation, اللي هي سميناها السمعة اللي هي الحسنة, good reputation, كان عندها سمعة حسنة. Why? Because she was praised, she was accepted by people. هلا she's successful because her work helped cure people. هلا انت when your job is done perfectly معناته you are successful. لو كانت هي nurse لكن فشلت في عملها, so it was not a success. هذا مش نجاح. But when you are able to do your job successfully, you succeed in this, معناته انت ايش? Your job is done perfectly and you're successful. But she was able to cure the wounded, and she was able to teach other women to become nurses as well. To cure wounded, and we can add more. She was able to be a nurse in time of peace and time of war. يعني بإمكانك تجاوبيها بطريقة مختلفة. إنه she was able to treat soldiers when they need her in battlefields, and she was able to treat sick people, ordinary people in Medina. Okay, she was able to listen to them, to look at their lives and to help them. مش بس إنه إيش medically يعني طبيا. Done? And this is the end of our lesson. I hope it was easy for you. See you next time إن شاء الله.